San Mateo. She graduated from San Francisco State University with a degree in criminal justice. Various experience working in the community with diverse populations. She's passionate about providing support to former foster youth. We work together we also have a foster youth program, so we work together, so there's a lot of support going on. With shared personal experiences of the challenges that most young people face, Alyssa is committed to serving those in need. Samantha works for Star Vista's Transitional Youth Services program for 2 years. Samantha has developed a growing passion for working with former foster youth, helping them find stabilized housing. With a bachelor's in both psychology and criminal justice, a master's in clinical psychology, and an upcoming doctorate in clinical psychology, she does not sleep. Samantha has developed a focus on foster care involved youth through the criminal practice research and psychological testing. Samantha is enthusiastic about collaborating, obviously, as we just talked about, with the community members of San Mateo County and finding innovative ways to serve the diverse communities that are within our county. Again, Alyssa and Samantha, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having us at your breakfast and your meeting. We really appreciate it. We're happy to be here. So yes, as Rob said, we're with Star Vista. Star Vista is a nonprofit agency that has been serving the county of San Mateo for over 50 years. And at this point, we have over 30 programs to serve a variety of different populations, including children, adolescents, adults, and families. Today, we are going to be talking about our program called Transitional Youth Services, which is a housing program for former foster youth aged 18 to 24. So just some little photos so you guys can see a little more of us. All right, so
Sure. So Star Vista has been helping people throughout San Mateo County navigate life's challenges for over 50 years. Our counseling, crisis prevention, youth housing, and outreach programs reach tens of thousands of people in the community each year, and that's something we're very prideful of. Our mission is to deliver high-impact services through counseling, skill development, and crisis prevention to children, youth, adults, and families. So we are all over the community in the school districts. We, at Sam and I's office location in San Mateo, we are next door to the crisis hotline, which is a very important resource for the community. We have callers 24 hours a day, and that's been really an amazing thing to be a part of, and we really pride ourselves with having that. So our vision is that all children, youth, and adults receive quality services to support and reaching their potential. And Star Vista prides ourselves with our holistic, strength-based approach guided by our principles and values: respect, passion, partnerships, accountability, innovation, integrity, and history.
And just those principles and those pillars that we really stand by, it's really bleeding out into everywhere within our agency. It's from the top of our board members and our CEO, Sarah Mitchell, and it's through all the work that we on the field do with our clients as well. So you'll find that within every aspect of our agencies. So we're going to talk about our program next, which is Transitional Youth Services. Again, we are a 24-month housing program for former foster youth age 18 to 24. Our biggest goals are creating stability, reducing homelessness for the population, and increasing opportunities and successful achievement of higher education. Those tend to be the most difficult barriers for our youth. Oftentimes, a foster youth will age out and their foster families are pretty much done with them. They say, okay, we helped you, and now it's time for you to go and be on your own. The issue with that is oftentimes everyone else that is with their biological family gets that support still when they age out. And so we want to make sure that we give foster youth the same opportunity as their similar aged peers. So recently there has been some legislative changes known as AB 12. AB 12 is also known as foster care extension. So So typically, youth will age out of the foster care system at the age of 18. What AB 12 does is extend that up to the age of 21. So that helps with maintaining some sort of stability for foster youth for a little bit longer while they're starting to transition into that adulthood age range, and while they're trying to learn how to have employment, learn how to be a renter, how to get your bachelor's degree, and just giving more time to figure out what they want to do with their future. So the green are the states that have it, and the gray are the states that don't. California is awesome, and we do have AB 12 foster care extension.
Yeah, and a little bit more about that is our program is considered aftercare. So when youth age out at age 21, they then are eligible for our services. So the aftercare piece is arranged between ages 21 to 25. And around that milestones of an age, specifically around 24, 25, is when we see a lot of things come up for the youth. There's a lot of anxiety around transitioning into adulthood, and that's where we really value where we can come in and provide some support. So there's a lot of reasons why children might come into the foster care system. Some have experienced facing abuse, neglect, illness, incarceration, death, substance abuse. Sometimes it's a child's choice or voluntary placement. So we recognize these in the care and level of services that we provide. A lot of them have been through some significant trauma, and we really are mindful with that in our work.
So we kind of touched base on this a little bit, but we'll go into a little bit more detail about some of the obstacles and barriers that this population will often face. I will say that transitional age youth in general, when you pull the foster care system out of it, these are still barriers for them. It's very hard, especially with the housing crisis that we're all experiencing, and the inflation of cost, but that minimum wage does not keep up with that. But because of the trauma that foster youth deal with and the lack of stability, even more so, this is detrimental to their ability to function as normal acting adults. So one of our main pieces is the inadequate housing. There's not enough housing in San Mateo County or just in the Bay Area or in California in general, and even with the housing that exists, it's so expensive. And for people who are just starting off at entry-level jobs, it's not sustainable for them. So this is something that our youth really struggle with, and so one of our missions is to connect with community members, see who are homeowners, who have those spare bedrooms that want to act as a mentor to our youth, and who want to provide a reasonable amount of rent, and then we help support them with that. Lack of financial resources. Again, a lot of these youth don't have parents like some of their similar age peers do who can help pay a parking ticket if they accidentally get one, or paying for school tuition and loans, things such as that. So oftentimes they're starting off on these minimum wage jobs, but again, with all the expenses, it outweighs what they're actually making on a monthly income. They face a lot of frequent changes in home and school, which leaves them unprepared. So again, instability is one of the crucial pieces. Without stability, there's a lack of competency or a lack of ability to learn what they need to in order to be successful, because they're so focused on, where am I going to be sleeping tonight? Am I going to get to have a meal? And when you're focused on just the basic survival, it's really hard to focus on like, oh yeah, let me go get a bachelor's degree so I can support myself one day. It's just not very feasible. And then because of the separation from family, there tends to be a lack of natural supports in their lives. So unfortunately, there are people that are foster parents because they get extra checks with it, they get some funding with it, and there's so much moving and there's so much instability that, again, the youth don't always get to make that one-on-one interaction. They don't get that mentor that they need to guide them and help them in the right direction. And then finally, higher education financial support. There are resources, but they're limited, and they often don't get told about them. And so it's really important that their social workers, their case managers, whoever's involved in their life, inform them of their rights and the services that are owed to them because of what they've been through. And that's going to look like Guardian Scholars, that's going to look like the Chafee Grant and things such as that.
Yeah, and a little bit more about the San Mateo piece. We're seeing at the California state level, there's a lot of advocacy right now for San Mateo County. We're really working on trying to provide more student housing at our local community colleges, specifically College of San Mateo, Kenyatta, Skyline. There's a strong push right now because we're seeing that they're identifying that this specific population is really having some strong challenges around this housing. So I really like to kind of bring in like the San Mateo focus because that's where we are. So in our program, we have 3 different housing models. We have a triplex site in South San Francisco that we refer to as Orange and Grand, where 9 youth, typically students live. They live together and they work and function to gain living skills and living independently. So that site specifically is not monitored 24 hours a day. We do have night staff just as, as a means of support if things do come up. But that typically is highly impacted.
I'm sorry, real quick question. The youth, what is that age group?
For all of our populations, it ranges from 18 to 24.
Okay, so that's... Okay.
Yeah, and so with that being said, we do try to encourage youth who have eligibility for foster care extension to take advantage of that and then come to us so they can get support as long as possible until they're ready to truly be self-sufficient.
Yeah, so we might see somebody at age 18 come to us. However, typically it's 21 and up because we do really strongly advise that you're eligible for AB 12, you might as well remain in AB 12 until you turn 21. Yeah. So Orange and Grand, it's highly impacted. We have a low turnover rate. We do have youth that have been there a long time. That's a strong placement for them. Host. This is one of the, host is where a youth lives with a person that they've identified in their life as being, as a mentor. So this is like, we see, this could be a distant relative for the youth, this might be a family friend, somebody who's willing to step up and provide a little bit additional support and function as a mentor, and we can provide them rental assistance for renting a room to our youth.
I do want to just note that with our housing models, we are beginning this shift. And so what we're finding is that there are some community members who have a spare room in the home that they live in, who will actually want to give back to the community and provide a room while also providing guidance and mentorship to our youth. And so at this point, it doesn't necessarily have to be someone that the youth knows anymore. It's just someone that the youth can connect with and give that support and natural guidance that they never received before. And so for the host program, the host will have to go through a screening process as well as their property to make sure that it's a safe environment.
Our third housing model is our scattered site model, and this is where youth are responsible for their own lease. So in this model, youth might be renting their own studio, they might be sharing, we have some college students that share a house with multiple different other students. So this is our most independent model. We try and think of these housing models as stepping stones towards independence. And then our ultimate goal is that when they do exit from our program, they have the tools and the skills to be out on their own, function in a household that might have multiple people in it, and navigate through a lot of the roommate challenges that we see. Orange and Grand definitely has a variety of different things that come up that we have to kind of step in and mediate from time to time, but really try to encourage them to be able to navigate that on their own.
All right, so eligibility and expectations and what that might look like. So overall, it's the same for each housing model, but the expectations for the youth may differ based off of the level of independence that's expected from that housing model. So for eligibility, they need to be 18 to 24. They must have been in the foster care system on their 18th birthday. Let's see, what else? There's an application that we have, and there are some required documents that need to be submitted with that. Typically, that's going to be looking like a letter on a letterhead that supports that they were involved in the foster care system on their 18th birthday. They need to be employed and or in school depending on the program, and then we need proof of that. So it's going to either be some recent pay stubs or their course schedule or something of that. And then we highly encourage them to have a housing option ready, because they can't begin to be in the housing program where they're receiving the assistance until there's a home to live in. If they're having a difficult time doing that, then that's when myself or Alyssa or one of our other case managers will step in, and we go apartment hunting with them. We teach them what questions to ask the landowner, how to present themselves, how to, be informed of their tenant rights, and just how to be a good tenant, pretty much. And what that does is it helps reduce the stigma of foster youth. Most people think that foster youth are bad, that they're criminals or whatever. There's a lot of negative correlation with them, and we're trying to teach otherwise and educate people from a very trauma-informed understanding. So the expectations of our youth once they're in our program, they need to be involved with their case manager at least twice a month. And what that will look like is sometimes we're out in the community having lunch together, sometimes we're in their home, sometimes we're just going shopping with them at TJ Maxx for household goods, whatever they need. And we're helping them stay on track so that they're ready to be, again, self-sufficient and on their own. And then they need to be engaged in 30 hours of productivity. That's going to look like employment, education, mental health needs being addressed. And then they're encouraged to work with our partners like Rob with Family Peninsula Services, getting financial consultation. We have a mental health intern who provides therapy and other services. And then as long as they're, reaching progression, then we're really proud of them and we're very happy with their success.
Yeah, and I would also mention, I know we do have a strong focus on former foster youth. Probation youth is also eligible for our program, so we have been trying to strengthen that partnership and going, we table at some of the events put on by the department and really try to inform, whether it be probation officers, of our services, and wanting to make that connection and ensuring that kind of nobody's falling through the gaps. So some of our partners, Peninsula Family Services, we've been working with Rob and John for years. They've been an amazing partner to us. Our youth highly value being able to sit down with someone who's trustworthy and who can provide guidance around financial support. Some of those goals might look like creating savings plans, repairing damaged credit, and exploring financial options. One of the most interesting things that I've heard from both Rob and John is sometimes this is the first time this youth has ever thought about their credit or thought about their financial means and being in a valuable way. The unfortunate side to it, a lot of this time too, taking a look at a credit report, some youth are seeing that family members may have taken advantage of them in the past, whether this be putting their names on a Comcast bill or utility bill, and this really has a large impact we're seeing with your opportunities being affected by that. So thank you, Rob. Really appreciate our partnership. Other partners include John Burton Advocates for Youth. They are our consultation. They provide advocacy and support. They put on a beautiful gala this about 2 months ago at the Fairmont in San Francisco. And really, they are all about supporting foster youth and ensuring that services are being provided. Help One Child this year was incredible. They made generous donations during the holidays. We do have a high number of parenting youth in our program. It is statistically a higher number for former foster youth who are parents. So Help One Child donated a lot, and each youth received up to $50 worth of gifts, which was really kind. HIP Housing, they are in San Mateo County. They are huge in the rental services and support, so we recently met with them and we're exploring a new pilot program that we're really looking forward to. They're going to allow 2 openings for our youth to receive services beyond the age of 25. So we're really hoping that there's going to be some successful outcomes with this, because we foresee that, the support is appreciated and can go far.
Do you have any health benefits that you can provide or through the state or anything like
Great
that?
question.
Great question. So all of our youth are already eligible for Medi-Cal, and if they're not signed up before our program, then our case managers will help them get involved in it.
Oh, very good.
Yeah,
Yes.
great question.
Yeah, and Medi-Cal benefits are up until age 26.
Okay.
So that's a
Oh,
great.
Yeah, and that should give them enough time to hopefully find some employment who offers the benefits within it. Okay, so just some ways to help. We do have a fundraiser that's upcoming. I hope you all love Chipotle just as much as I do. I love it. On Saturday, March 23rd from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., you will find me there tabling and probably eating a bowl. 33% of whatever you purchase will come directly into our program, so we can further have more events for our youth and just be able to help them out a little bit more. So please feel free to stop on by. It's the one on right by Home Depot by Bridgepoint Plaza. And then just some other ways that you can help. We're always accepting financial donations. They are tax deductible. Accepting household goods for our youth, like vacuums and other things that they need to do cleaning, school supplies, planners, notebooks, binders, holiday gifts if you'd like to contribute to that. And if you have any rooms to rent, or if you know any homeowners that have rooms to rent, our youth are homeless and looking and would love a place to sleep at night.
Great.
Thank you.
I wish I knew about Star Vista 15, 20 years ago, because I have a personal belief that children between the ages of 16 and 26 are not capable of being out on their own. And some of you may or may not know, we've taken in 13. Currently, I have a 32-year-old living with us. But she's special because my daughter brought her home and said, "Mom, this is the sister I never had, and we gotta help her." So, I just wish I had known all of that, because I could have guided these children to those extended services, but I never thought of officially fostering them. I did have guardianship so that I could participate in their schooling, because that was a requirement. Either they're working or going to school while they lived in our home. But my husband and I just did the best we could, and many of them stayed until they were 26.
That's because you're Mexican.
Yeah. The food was really good.
Tamales.
Yeah.